Hey everybody, welcome to Woodland Bakery. What are we making?
I don't know, why don't you tell me?
What's it look like we're making?
You don't really want me to say.
You already did say it. And it doesn't look like that. It looks like wonderful, moist, best recipe on the internet, chocolate cake that we make at Woodland Bakery. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Best recipe for chocolate cake out there, I think, and a lot of you have already made it and you will agree. So yes, we are refilming the making of chocolate cake, my recipe. Get the recipe ingredients on woodlandbakeryblog.com, and I'm going to show you how to make it. Alright.
Let's do this.
Let's make stuff. In my KitchenAid mixer, guys, I have whole eggs and egg yolks. I'm going to have to get that whipping with a whip attachment, and that's going to take close to 5 minutes. I just want to get it up to high speed. Alright, so you're going to whip that on high speed for approximately 5 minutes. And in the meantime, I'm going to show you how to prepare the rest of your ingredients so that we can add it to the recipe. I do have some sugar. We've got to like stand away from the mixer because it's so loud. I have sugar that I'm going to add slowly. Once those eggs get a little bit of volume and body to them, I'm going to start adding in this sugar. And then we're going to get to a point that I call ribbon stage, which I'll show you exactly what that means. Very important step, guys, in mixing cake recipes, and I'll show you why. So we've got our sugar. I've got all of my dry ingredients in this bowl here that's been sifted. It's flour with baking soda and salt.
Oh, watch this.
Almost fell on the floor there. I have cocoa powder. This is Dutch processed cocoa powder. Very important for this recipe, and I want you guys to go check out Cocoa Powder 101 to explain the difference between regular cocoa powder and Dutch process. There's a certain scientific reaction that takes place when we use Dutch process, so it's very important that you use it in this recipe.
You're very smart.
Oh, hey, that's
is that CIA?
That's my CIA education
$300,000 CIA.
Yeah, after it was all paid and said, and I'm sharing it with you guys for free. So stay tuned, Woodland Bakery. I'll teach you everything. You know what I'm gonna do? The eggs, if you want to see over here in the bowl, they're starting to get some volume. So at this point, I'm gonna start adding in the sugar. I don't want to dump it all in at once. I want to go pretty slowly, because I don't want to deflate the egg. The whole point of whipping the eggs is to make it aerated and get it nice and fluffy. So I want to go slow with the sugar. You can see too that the color of the eggs is changing as the air is whipping in there. See how it's getting a lot lighter? So this really does take at least 5 minutes on high speed. Of course, you guys can use your hand mixer at home, but it's just going to take a lot more effort. The KitchenAid really does everything effortlessly. Alright, so all of our sugar is in there. We're going to still let that go. And in the meantime, I'm going to prepare some of the other components of my recipe. Dutch processed cocoa powder in very hot water. I'll pour those together. And it gets to be almost like a muddy mixture. You see that?
I smell it.
Yeah. I guess I get desensitized to a lot of this stuff.
Or am I smelling these?
I don't know what you're smelling, but it wasn't me.
Sure about that?
Alright, to that you're going to now add the melted chocolate. And this is real baking chocolate, guys, not chocolate chips.
Secret amount?
Secret amount. No, nothing is a secret. All the recipe ingredients, guys, are on woodlandbakeryblog.com. I'm going to whisk that together. And then I have some very soft butter here. Like, this has been so softened at room temperature for almost a whole day. And I want it to be that soft so that I can incorporate it into here.
If you're in a rush, can you put that in the microwave?
You can, but you got to be careful that you're not melting it. You know, microwaves are very intense heat and it tends to melt in spots. So if you have time and you know you're making this recipe, I would prefer that you leave it out, you know, all day and let your butter soften up.
When I have pancakes in the morning, we put it in the microwave.
And does it melt?
Yes, it does.
See? I find that if I do my butter at just like 12 or 15 seconds, it's perfect. All right, so there you have this wonderful, like, I don't know what you call this. It's almost like a ganache, really. It's, you know, it's melted chocolate and butter. All right, so there you have that.
You can't smell that?
I do smell it now, yeah.
Okay.
All right, and it looks like our eggs. I feel like I'm losing my voice, like I'm talking so loud over this thing. This is my eggs. This is what we call ribbon stage. You see how when I do that, the eggs that are falling, the egg mixture that's falling into the rest of the batter creates like a ribbon. Joseph Corey, Desserts 101 channel on YouTube. Go check him out, guys. He does fabulous videos, and he gave me a tip, actually. He said if you lift up your batter and you make a figure eight, if you can still see that figure eight for about 3 seconds, you know you have achieved ribbon stage. Thanks, Joseph, for that tip. Okay. So we know we're done. With the eggs, of course. This recipe is a bit lengthy, but it has a lot of ingredients, but it'll be well worth it, guys. Where's my spatula? What you're going to do next is pour all of this chocolate mixture into our eggs. Just going to kind of whisk that so that it all becomes uniform. I'm going to pop this back on the mixer bowl, on the KitchenAid, I should say.
The mixer bowl? What is that?
Sometimes I just say things and then I go back and I'm like, what did I say?
Like, what the hell's a mixer bowl?
Yeah.
Like, is that completely made up?
I know, I do make things up a lot, but anyway, we won't go there. Right.
Mixer bowl.
The next thing that we have for our recipe is some milk, whole milk, and this is yogurt. This is plain yogurt, guys.
Again, you said whole milk, but
Whole milk. Yeah, you could use, if you have 2% or, you know, skim milk. You know, in baking, though, the ingredients do play with each other in a good way. So you do want to have some fat in baking is what makes things really good. You know, you could play around with things and lighten up recipes here and there, but just know that you will have a different result than what the recipe was intended to be. So I'm mixing together my whole milk and my yogurt. To that I'm going to add a little bit of vanilla. Alright. And now what we're going to do is what's called an alternating foaming method, where we've already foamed up our eggs, we've added in our chocolate. Now we're going to add in our dry ingredients in 3 additions. Starting with the dry, we're going to just add about 1/3 of that and let it mix. And then I'm going to add about half of this liquid mixture, which is the milk and the yogurt. Then we're going to add in another 1/3 of this flour.
Now, do you have this sequence on the blog?
Yes.
You
yep.
do.
Anytime you do an alternating mix method, you always want to start with the dry and end with the dry. So it's 3 additions of dry with 2 additions of the liquid.
Because that would have confused me a long time ago.
I did write it. I did make a note of it. You'll see, guys, on the blog, I really do try to write things out a little bit more clear. I try to be as clear as possible in these videos, but, you know, sometimes I may not be.
Like mixing bowl.
Yeah, like mixing bowl. Put it back on your mixer bowl.
That was a good one.
So there is your second edition of the wet and the last edition of the dry. And that's it. I mean, this was a lot of ingredients for this cake recipe. And if you guys have never made a scratch cake before, what I mean by scratch cake is like a real recipe, not a box cake where you take the box of cake mix of Duncan Hines and add water to it. You will never go back to a box mix. I have created this recipe to simulate the taste of a box cake because I find that a lot of people are so used to that taste, and when they do taste a scratch cake, they're like, what the heck is that? You know, our taste buds have been so conditioned to be used to these processed things that when you do make recipes like this with real eggs and real butter and real chocolate, So anyway, what I'm saying is, this is a fabulous recipe.
The hell are you saying?
Yeah, what the heck am I talking about? Anyway, just make it. You're going to love it. That's what I'm saying. All right, so I have my 8-inch cake pans, 2 8-inch cake pans prepared with the professional bakery pan grease that I will share the recipe with you on woodlandbakeryblog.com. I'm going to divide this batter equally between the 2 pans. My oven is preheated to 350 degrees. And this cake, if you use this size pan, it's probably going to take about 35 to maybe 45 minutes to bake. Check out my written blog called Until It's Done. It's going to help you in that area to figure out how long and what to look for. But basically, there you have it. Best chocolate cake on the internet, guys. Go get your recipes, share it on Facebook. Stay tuned with us for Building on Recipes, where we take this cake, the chocolate mousse, the chocolate ganache, and we make really fabulous cakes, just like at my bakery. Woodland